Holy cow, so freaking pod.
Chapter
20.
20. Hi, it's Chuuurls.
It's Cherrydoom?
It's Chad.
Actually, it's Twad.
It's Twad.
It's Twad. Let's have a summary.
Yes, let's.
Let's have a summary. Oh, fuck. Let's have a summary, governor.
That's what James said to herself every time she sat down to write a new chapter. So, in this chapter, Christian fucks Anna in the boathouse after explaining that it was sexy that she denied him earlier when he was touching her leg during dinner. He goes on a rant about how she makes him mad with her irresponsible past actions and things she did that just plain grind his gears. He denies her orgasm, but gives her back her panties. Mia blarts in and brings them back to the party, suspecting nothing. The guests say their goodbyes to Mr. and Mrs. Gray parents. Kate annoys Anna. In the car ride home, Anastasia finds out that Christian actually did want her to come to his dinner, and she shouldn't have doubted herself so hard. Anna apologizes for suddenly dropping the Georgia thing on him, and Christian asks if he can come with her. She tries to stonewall him by telling him she needs space and time to think about shit. He seems to imply that he's afraid to lose her because they have had a fun weekend together. To make up for the whole maybe going on a trip thing, Anna agrees to stay the night and once again says, "I'll sign the contract." Christian tells her to wait until she's done with Georgia, and Anna decides she'll think about it hard, baby. Anastasia requests that this night they make love. Blah blah, smooching in the elevator, la la. Anastasia asks to touch Christian, but it's a hard limit. In exchange for telling Anna why he's fucked up, Christian shoves some balls in her snatch, consensually spanks her, and then they fuck. Afterwards, Christian briefly explains that the reason he is fucked up was that his mom was, direct quote, a crack whore. Anastasia goes to sleep and has a dream about sad, babby Christian.
Alright, and now I'm going to read the summary of the first sex scene.
Ready.
Alright, I'm ready.
Are you guys ready?
I don't see it.
In the boathouse, it's sex fuck. I want you, and I want you now. And if you're not going to let me spank you, which you deserve, I'm going to fuck you on the couch this minute, quickly, for my pleasure, not yours. Don't touch yourself. I want you frustrated. That's what you do to me by not talking to me, by denying me what's mine. Christian orgasms, Anna doesn't.
Christian puts the balls, Benoit balls, in Anastasia's mouth.
Me, please.
The balls go in Christian's mouth. The balls go inside Anastasia's plassy. She gets Christian a drink of water, and he asks her to ask him to spank her. She does. He does. The balls increase the sensations. Then he tears out the balls and rams in the condo cock. Everyone comes. Apparently, it was making love. He puts lotion on her bum.
The balls.
Alright. Alright, pet theories. My pet theory. This chapter was very balls-themed, as you will discover over the course of this podcast. So my pet theory is Anastasia will be put in a ball pit. She will be both filled with and surrounded by balls. Christian actually just has a balls fetish.
That would be a very uncomfortable ball pit, I feel.
Oh, if it was all, like, the balls that were going in her? That's...
The Benoit balls, yeah. Unless they were the other kind of, the other thing. I forget what they're called, but they're, like, they have these little they're, like, heavy balls, and they have bells, and you roll them around in your hand.
Bow-ding balls, yeah.
Yeah. Then at least they would sound pleasant when you fell
they would sound
maybe.
nice. Like,
Probably not when they were right next to your head.
yeah, they're actually really heavy. Like,
I used to have some.
Oh, really? Okay.
And they sound very nice, but yeah, they're heavy.
I was actually imagining that the ball type was not limited to one thing, so it can be any sort of ball.
Okay.
But he just wants to fill her with balls, and also surround her with them.
Okay.
Well, that sort of does go back to him being a man-child goon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, making a ball pit in his house.
He's obsessed with balls and pizza.
Let me take you to my playroom, Anastasia. It's just like a discovery zone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so mine is that Anna is a robot. Okay, yeah. That's me and my robot obsession, but the silver balls were actually batteries that were dead, had been completely discharged, and he was leeching Anna's electrical energy to recharge them.
That's really interesting. What if, like, your watch goes dead and you're like, I get it, my watch is dead, and you just stick it in Anastasia's vagina? And it comes back to life. I mean, she has a talent.
The ultimate objectification.
I didn't even think about that part. I was just like, oh, you just stick the watch in her mouth. It's like, all right, he also puts them in her vagina.
Well, I suppose any orifice could work if we were thinking about it. But I'm not thinking about
multiple, okay. Chad, did you have any pet theories?
Yeah. This chapter was sort of... There wasn't actually a whole lot to go on, because not too much weird interaction happened, so... the only thing I could think of was that Christian's pockets are just always full of used tied condoms, which is really, really gross. Just really, really gross.
I can't wait till we get to the part where I can tell my story about that.
Oh, go. Oh no. I just combined God and no, so I said, oh, go.
Ugo. Okay.
Mechanics. Christian says, "You know this is not how I saw tonight panning out," he mutters petulantly. Actually, he mutters it petulantly, he doesn't say it. It should have been something like, this is not how I saw tonight panning out. Not like, this is not how I saw tonight panning out.
Well, it could be, you didn't, or this is not how I, that, as opposed to, as, kind of observational, that kind of thing. It could be...
that's weird to say, but maybe in that case it should be like italics, and that, this is not how... That sounds really whiny. I suppose if he's muttering petulantly, it fits. But okay, in that case, I still need some kind of signifier around no. K-N-O-W. Yes.
This is Kate talking to Anna. He needs antagonizing. Then you can see what he's like. Be careful, Anna. He's so controlling, she whispers. See you later. I know what he's really like. You don't. And the part about I know what he's really like that's in caps is at the top of the page. Of the very next page, and you have to turn the page to see it, and it's just the first thing you see. It's very jarring.
It's not like that on my copy, but I see what you mean.
Yeah. Is it like that in yours, Chad? I know we have different page numbers sometimes.
Yeah, it's the same. It's just you turn the page and you're immediately being yelled at by Anastasia.
It's not my fault, Anastasia.
This is something that Anastasia thinks to herself during one of the sex scenes. She says a thing, and then she says, "My nerve endings, my breathing," which is just a sentence fragment.
Not just a quote. Here, I'm going to read it. "Good. There's a trace of humor lurking in his eyes. Line break. I want a glass of water. Go and fetch one for me, please." So, in most cases, when there's a line break after somebody says something, that indicates that somebody else is talking. However, it's Christian asking Anastasia for a glass of water while she's got the Benoit balls in her, so that she can feel what they feel like. She is not asking him for a glass of water. And also, go and fetch one for me, please. There probably should be a comma after me. So, go and fetch one for me, please.
Well, maybe there's more than one Christian.
Like that scene in The Watchmen, where Dr. Manhattan becomes several people so that he can please Sally Jupiter or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's why there's a line break, because another Christian is speaking.
Another Christian just butted off.
Okay, this is the subconscious talking to Anna. You're making him mad. Think about all that he's said, all he's conceded. Okay, this says all that '(S), he '(S) said. So it would be, think about all that is he has said, or all that he has said.
That's horrible.
I can't believe I didn't catch this. Unless there's some interpretation of this that I'm not seeing. It's extremely bad.
Yeah, I think that's probably the worst error we found.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I think this is a really bad error, but I do think it's one of those errors that if you weren't proofreading really heavily, which this book appears not to have been, you'd easily miss, because you just gloss over the apostrophe S there. You just read it as think about all that he said, rather than think about all that he said, because it's so unnatural.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't even be paying attention, because I didn't catch this at all. Unless it was corrected in my copy, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I wonder, yeah.
Do you know what page it was on? I'll check.
360.
Oh, it's bad in mine, too. You're making him mad. Think about all that he's said. So that was just something I got fixed.
Yep, same in mine. It is still wrong in the print copy that I have. That is a huge error.
Yeah, that's really pretty horrible.
All right.
Let's have Chad read thing.
We have the return of the just fucked. So the first time, she uses it twice, like in a row. Something, something, my just fucked state. And there's a hyphen in between now. And then Anastasia even then goes on to say, just fucked hair again. But this time with the hyphen in between just and fucked. So somebody did catch that, or E.L. James realized or something, but it wasn't fixed earlier, so.
Quote, "It's such a stimulating, erotic feeling. And for some reason, because this is on my terms, I don't mind the pain." I don't actually know if maybe this should be in wording instead. "It's such a stimulating, comma, erotic feeling, comma, and for some reason, comma, because this is on my terms, comma, I don't mind the pain."
Yep.
Like, I think that she shouldn't have said "and for some reason." Like, she says the reason. It's a specific reason, because this is on my terms. So, it should be something like, it's a stimulating, erotic feeling, and because this is on my terms, I don't mind the pain. Think about it. Wow.
Yeah,
Stop.
one of those two phrases should be out. Either and for some reason, or because this is on
Yeah,
my
I
terms.
feel like that might have been like an editing mistake, which is why I put it in mechanics. Like, just forgot to delete some part of the old sentence type of thing.
That would not be surprising at all.
Okay, check.
But his moods, ... oh, dash, and he wants to hurt me. I don't really think the punctuation here is very good. The O hyphen, or O dash, and he wants to hurt me.
Is that supposed to be like,
Fuck.
oh, and in addition to everything else, he also wants to hurt me? Or, oh, is more of an emotional sort of, but his moods, and he wants to hurt me.
Yeah, that's really ambiguous.
Yeah, it's
I
a
don't
little
know
weird.
how to read it. That's why I think the punctuation doesn't really work, because like you don't get a clear sense of what Anastasia is thinking, and that doesn't really make sense since this is her internal narration. As the reader, probably know what she's feeling. This is so murky that I think it really needs to be cleaned up. I'm not sure how you do it. I think the clearest thing, if it's like the realization thing, like, oh, and he wants to hurt me, would just be a comma instead of a dash.
Or maybe it would be, but his moods dash O, comma, and he wants to hurt me.
Yeah, a dash between the oh and he wants to hurt me. Yeah, dash oh comma and he wants to hurt me. That would really clear things up if that's what the intention is. But if it's like what Cherrydoom suggested, then this is almost okay. The ellipse is still pretty bad. So then Anastasia is describing Christian's scent again, and she says, drinking in his sexy Christian and spiced musky body wash fragrance. And Christian and spiced musky body wash is all hyphenated, which is fine if you're like on the internet telling a joke or something, like doing a hyphenated phrase joke, but like in a book, that's bad. That's bad. You just find a better way to write what you're trying to say.
I mean, she does that all the time, like with the expressions that her subconscious
She
gives
could go
her.
way overboard and go, drinking in his
That's
sexy hyphen Christian hyphen and hyphen spiced hyphen musky hyphen body washed hyphen fragrance. And then that would be funny and good.
Yeah, I think that would be funny. Like, but she sort of, yeah, it's not overboard enough to be funny, and it's too much to be like the way you use this.
I mean, I object to this in every way. It should just be like drinking in Christian's sexy, spicy, musky body wash. I think that she needs to get rid of some of those adjectives. It's like,
Yep.
I don't know. Ugh.
I think she just needs to learn how to write better.
I think we could all agree.
Alright,
Americans.
Americant.
Here is one. Honestly, all this fuss. I feel very sleepy. Okay, do I have to explain myself? We never say all this fuss. Honestly, all this fuss. Like, that's like something that Hermione Granger would
Yeah.
say, not anybody here in our country.
Usually, I don't know. I think of fussing as referring to babies. A fussy baby.
Fussy baby.
Why has he not removed my panties?
Why is he not?
Just another. Why has he not removed my panties? Just another weird hyphenation.
Yeah.
Why hasn't he removed my panties would seem more just the natural way that someone would
YNT
say it.
removed my panties.
Why? Yep.
I've been prevailed upon in ways I never thought possible today. Prevailed. prevailed. I'm sorry. That's not... No.
Am I thinking of the wrong word when I think of prevailed as being like triumph?
Not really. Like, to prevail upon is kind of like to be called
Like-
upon, in a way.
But like if you go through a trial and you prevail,
Oh.
is that a
I
different
think
word?
it just means... I don't know. Let's look it up. Prevail.
Yeah, I
It
think it has
says,
multiple
prove more
meanings.
powerful than opposing forces. Be victorious. Persuade somebody to do something. She was prevailed upon to give an
Yeah.
account of her
Oh.
work. So yeah, it's two
Weird.
different things.
It has two different definitions.
It actually has three.
Okay, yeah, I feel like the one I was thinking of is probably the more common
There's
one
also
in
like the
America.
prevailing attitude, which is like to be widespread
Oh yeah.
in a particular
Yeah,
area at a
that's right.
particular time. Says the internet.
This is, again, I'm not entirely sure, but I will read this one. He utters an oath under his breath. People do say oath, but it's sort
Utter
of
an
not...
oath.
No one young says this. I doubt Anastasia would think this to herself if she were really like a 21-year-old
Yeah.
from Seattle. Even despite her like intense British nerdery, geekiness. Yep, that's it.
Okie
Goodbye.
dokie. Here are 2 lines of dialogue and some narration. But it was tolerable, he asked softly. I flushed. Barely, I whispered, but I can't help my smirk. This is just so like, oh, Mr. Darcy. It is very tolerable that you showed up to the party and you did
Yep.
not speak to me. Like, it's... Oh, God. I just hate it so much.
Yeah, it's like that very sarcastic, dry British kind of thing.
But it also has, like, that thing of, like, Brit-lit romantic, like, you're not saying everything you should say. Like, he's like, the guy's like, have I pleased you? And the girl's like, I don't know. You know? Alright, well, anyways, it's time for wording. And it's me first. Here's a quote. I melt against him, and my breathing stops as my insides unfurl with longing. Nothing really wrong with that, but it sounds kind of gruesome to me, like, her intestines are coming out like party streamers, and the rest of her just turns into goo.
Gross.
Time for party!
Christian is still described as a predator, but this time he's a rare and dangerous one. And I was wondering what the rarest and most dangerous predator we could think of was.
I'm thinking it's a kind of spider.
I was thinking of a hippogriff.
It doesn't have to be a real thing. Then I pick a
Well, it's more rare if it doesn't
I
exist.
pick a manticore, which is a hand that kills you, basically. A hand monster.
Oh, from Zelda.
Oh, is that what they're called? No, those are wall masters. Okay, no, I changed my answer to wall master.
Manticores are...
Aren't those
No.
Don't they have like one horn? They're like a
Yeah.
lion monster?
It's
Yeah,
possible.
I thought
I mean,
that's what
like,
manticore
I
was.
have been... I get a little confused about this because in Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, J-Row, made up her own manticore, which is basically just like a weird hand monster. It's like a weird fuzzy thing, and it eats people, and it's like super dangerous. It was in the Magical Creatures little tiny side book. Yeah, I used to have that and the one about Quidditch too. So that's kind of like why
Oh, okay.
I think a manticore is that other thing.
Yeah, the traditional view of the manticore is a sphinx-like thing with like a human head.
A scorpion
But it
tail.
doesn't matter.
Yep.
What about you, Chad?
The rarest predator.
And most dangerous.
Maybe the predator?
Yeah, predator.
Yes,
Is there
I
only
agree.
one predator? I'm not really like...
No,
There
there's
was
actually...
in the first movie.
Yeah, there's an entire race of them.
Oh, there were two in the first movie. I think one of them died.
No, there's only
Yeah,
one.
there's only one in the first
Oh,
movie.
yeah, he
So that's
got
rare,
wounded. Yeah,
I
that's
think.
right.
Yeah. In the second one, Danny Glover kills the predator.
It's not called Predators.
No, it's called Predator.
It's Predator 2.
Oh, I thought they did the same thing as in Aliens. Anyway,
That might be a little too on the nose.
yeah.
in
Well, I
terms
mean,
of,
they eventually merged them, so I figured they must have
Yeah.
something to do. They existed in the same universe already.
Actually,
I don't
in
know.
Predator 2, there's a brief scene when Danny Glover's like on the ship or something, and then you can actually see an alien skull on the background.
Yeah.
They're actually already linked, but yeah, they did the actual just like numbered sequel thing until they merged
Okay.
the series.
Cool trivia.
I'm not a nerd.
No, we're not nerds. We are the most popular jocks in the school, and we beat up nerds all the time.
Because you went drinking with that guy who tried to seduce you. I would not say that it was an attempt at seduction. At all. Christian saw the whole thing. I don't know why he's putting it that way.
Define seduction, though. I mean, like, what is it?
Jose was like, let me kiss you. He just, like, was grabbing Anna and be like, I'm gonna kiss you. And Anna's like, no. That's not seduction.
He says "katamia," which is very
so
sexy.
Speaking in a language that is not English. Oh my god. Alright, wait.
I mean, it makes Morticia Addams melt.
I'm looking for this because I want to see what happened. I guess I have to do a word search for margarita.
The only way possible to find the right scene.
Okay, I don't have to, but basically, I mean, he does come on to her a little bit before physically.
I wouldn't call it seduction because I feel like, I don't know, I guess I feel like seduction has more, verbal, maybe smoother.
I spelled margarita without an R. Okay, alright, you know what? I'm reading it now. It's the most pathetic thing. He doesn't seduce her. I agree with you. I mean, like, okay, so he comes up to her when she's getting sick, and he's like, do you need a hand? And, like, he starts hugging her, and he's like, Anna, please, I like you, Anna, please. Like, that's, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like a weird, desperate guy. Like, and then he attempts
but you could say that a seduction attempt could be any attempt to get someone to sleep with you.
He's not negging her.
No.
He's not doing Kino.
It's true.
Or no, he is.
I mean, I guess
Kino.
that's true, but I usually think of seduction, at least in the way that it's usually used, as some sort of as being like emotionally manipulative in some way. Like you're using anything, like using things at your disposal.
Maybe he's trying to seem sad and pathetic, so she'll take
That's
pity
real
on him.
sexy. That's definitely a way to attract people. Please help me, please. Yeah, come on, please. This is seducing you, right? Oh yeah. There's a bunch of stuff that comes up again in this chapter that E.L. James has said before. But she can't seem to let them go, especially when the sexy times are happening. Hot and heavy is one. She uses this phrase constantly, and she uses it to apply to many different things. The way that she usually uses it is like Anna describing her hot and heavy desire deep in the pit of her stomach or something like that. And then heady mix, which is any time that something is like sexy, it's like, oh, it's a heady mix. It's so intoxicating.
Heady cocktail.
Yeah, a heady mix, a heady cocktail. She uses impressive length. Again, I don't think there will ever be a chapter that involves sex that will not say impressive length. And then just fucked, which she uses twice in this chapter, and thus brings the total to like 4 times, I think. So
she must have there must be some sort of like fascination with that. I mean, just like from an aesthetic point of view, I guess. She keeps bringing it up. I mean, that's kind of like Edward's whole appeal, I think, maybe? Edward Cullen. Like,
that he's just gotten out of bed after having sex?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got bedhead. Like, that's his hairstyle.
That's different.
I know, but someone
I agree.
might say that the reason that is an appealing style is because it sort of looks like he just had sex.
Yeah.
Like how having red lips means you're aroused or something. That's why lipstick is popular. Anyway.
I mean, it's strange how there is something to that, because I don't know, like, tousled is apparently a good look. Hustled. Tousled. I always read it as no, I know. I'm saying it to be funny. I think it's tussled.
But I think it's a very little pronunciation, or maybe I just had never heard it read aloud, so I made an assumption about how it was pronounced.
Don't ever take me as like the authority on how to say things. I promise you, I'm wrong about that.
Okay, it's next.
Or is it? No, it's me. Wow. All right. There's a foil packet, ready and waiting, like me. Did Anastasia just equate herself to a condom? I don't understand. So
Yeah, she did.
He is gonna put his penis in her, just like he puts his penis in the condom.
And then he's gonna tie her up and throw her away.
Gray eyes blaze with anger, need, and pure unadulterated lust. And that's just, I feel like we haven't seen the gray eyes blazing in a while. Or feels like she's toned down on it a little bit, or maybe I just haven't noticed it because I've gotten used to it or something.
It sounds like that she's just saying gray eyes in general do this.
She's just trying to find some way to make, like, London weather appealing.
Impossible.
He pulls me into an embrace, my back to his front. That doesn't sound so bad when I read it now, but it's pretty fucking bad. This is like the second time that she's done this, where Christian like embraces her from behind. She could say Christian embraces me from behind, but no, it's my back to his front.
Yeah, she has.
Because. Go on.
Sorry, no, it should be you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It should be you who goes ahead. I was gonna say she seems to have problems with anything that isn't like, for lack of a better term, like front to front. If it's
missionary,
it's just not for sex though, just in general. So like,
I mean, but yeah,
that's why I was about to say missionary, but
missionary conversation.
I can sort of trace the thought process she's having when she writes these things. It's just like, oh, well, I need to be more descriptive, like explicitly descriptive, because they're not going to understand. But rather than come up with like a more eloquent phrase, she
could say something like, I feel his chest pressing against my back.
Yeah, I was thinking something like that, except a little bit lower down. Like that would be sexy as well. Probably for your readers. I don't care, but that's also something you can do. Like, there are many more artful ways to put it, and this would not be one of them. Oh, I guess I'm next. These are new, he says emphatically, but because he said it emphatically, these are new! Like, that's such a...
Is that what emphatically means? Putting an emphasis on each word?
Yeah, like, with much emphasis, I believe it means.
To me, it sort of sounded to be like, these are new!
In a forceful way.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds more like he's trying to say it in a reassuring way, as to not, say, have these Benoit balls been in someone else's vagina?
Oh, interesting. I didn't think of it that way.
What?
But it kind of sounds like he's just excited to use them. Like, these are new!
Oh, maybe.
Yay!
Yeah, that was how I read it, but that also makes sense, Cherrydoom.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that other possibility.
That was a cool reading. Yeah, I didn't either.
Guess that's because we're gross. I have assumed... Oh, man, this sounds... I have assumed he'd like to sleep with him. Oh, sorry.
No.
I had assumed he'd like me to sleep with him, and then I remember that he doesn't sleep with anyone. That's a weird, tense thing. I wasn't sure whether or not to put this in mechanics or wording, but I think it's more of a wording thing, even though it is mechanical.
Yeah.
Because she uses, what is this, past perfect tense? And then, oh shit, I'm going to sound like an idiot if I get that wrong. No, because it would have been had assumed.
I have assumed. And then I remember present tense.
But
he doesn't. Present tense.
See, okay, that's the problem. Because past perfect is I had assumed. Like,
so this
have
is
assumed.
Yeah.
This is weird. I don't know.
Yeah, so this is really weird. Like, I have assumed he'd like to sleep with me. And then, so I have assumed he would like to sleep with me. So this is future perfect. But
That's
it's incorrect.
Yeah.
And then she switches back to present tense in the next phrase. And then I remember. So I have assumed he'd like, and then I remember. So there's a tense shift in addition to the weird tense wording. Yeah, it's just totally wrong. This like stopped me in my tracks when I read it. There was another thing that stopped me. It had to do with the punctuation though. Okay, that's all for me.
Quote, stop. He tugs them from my mouth. Talking about the balls, because he makes her put them in her mouth, to warm them up or something. But do you mean, so he just sticks his hand in her mouth and pulls them out? I
think maybe he pulled them out by the string.
Oh, the string. I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
He just hit her on the back of the head. Like, he's put his hand under her chin and then tapped the back of her head.
What if they, like, cracked against her teeth or something like that? That's not cool.
No.
Teeth and all.
Yeah.
Put them all in her vagina. No. Okay, so once again, she says, and it's a revelation. She has a lot of revelations in this book. I mean, I guess that's fine because she's in a new situation. But think of something else to say. And I hate that she uses the exact same phrasing, and it's a revelation. Or it's a revelation, rather than, well, this is new. I wouldn't advise that for a replacement, but I'm just saying it's something different.
It'd probably be a much funnier book, though.
I'm trying to remember it. I mean, because this sounds like somebody who would be like in an evangelical church would say a lot, like, "Dear God, it's a revelation!" Like, just all the time. A revelation! I'm trying to remember, there's some other term that they use a lot. It's not elevated, it's like, but it means like to raise up or something like that. It just reminds you of that.
True.
Oh, it's me, it's true. Quote, Christian stands in the doorway, his PJs hanging off his hips in that way that makes every little cell in my body stand up and take notice. He's bare-chested, and I drink him in like I'm crazed with thirst, and he's clear, cool mountain spring water. This is so bad. I mean, like, alright. You have a couple of previous terrible problems. The hanging off the hips in that way.
At least she sort of describes it a little more than that it makes every little cell in her body stand up and take notice. I don't know.
But it doesn't necessarily say, like, what is going on with his hips PJ situation. And then that second sentence, he's bare-chested, and I drink him in like I'm crazed with thirst, and he's clear-coated. Like I'm this, and he's that, of course. Moth, bird, snake, flame. Dude. But also...
Person dying of thirst water.
Person dying thirst water. But, okay, the second part. Clear, cool mountain spring water. Clear, cool mountain spring water. That is so annoying. That's so many words. Like, you could just say that he's a refreshing glass of water, but, like, I mean, I wouldn't even, that's a false premise, because I would never write the sentence anyways. I mean, I say that there's a mechanics issue too, but I can't remember what it is. I'm almost certain it's in the next.
Do you think there needs to be some commas between clear, cool mountain spring water?
Yeah, I felt like there's something wrong with that and. Oh no, the two ands, the double ands. And I drink him in like a drinker, and he's like, I think that's bad.
Yep.
I would just rearrange the sentence so it doesn't do that. Alright, sorry.
Anna says, I'm lost in a quagmire of sensation. Just unappealing.
Yeah. Isn't that like a swamp?
Yep.
Or a pit?
Yep.
Why did you say that?
I first heard the word in a Beastie Boys lyric. The lyric goes, I'm the king of Boggle, there is none higher. I get 11 points off the word quagmire.
I think I heard it, or rather I first saw this word in the game Banjo-Tooie. Because there's like the little area before you go into like grunty industries or whatever is like a quagmire. Anyways.
I don't have a story. Wow.
I know, it's usually just kind of really unappealing word for like a situation that's tedious to wade through. Not something that, is like overwhelming you with pleasure or whatever.
Yeah, you wouldn't use quagmire to describe like a good thing.
I'm drowned in a quicksand pool of sensation.
Here's the Baskin-Robbins thing. Chuuurls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay, here's the quote. Sure, we cater for all tastes here. At least 31 flavors. So when I came across this, I had no fucking idea what they were talking about. Like, I thought maybe it was like a Heinz thing. Like 51 flavors? Heinz 51? But that's not...
ketchup flavors.
Yeah, I know. That's wrong, obviously. But like...
Or 32 Dr. Pepper flavors.
32. But now it makes sense. Because you guys have explained that apparently it's a Baskin-Robbins thing, that they have 31 flavors.
Yep.
So have you never been to a Baskin-Robbins store?
I have, actually. But the last time I went, I was like 5 years old.
There you go.
Yeah, they don't...
That's what I was saying.
There used to be a Baskin-Robbins/Dunkin Donuts, which was great, by the way.
Oh boy.
That's too much.
That's the dream.
hedonism at its peak.
But yeah, it closed down a long time ago, and I haven't seen one here in Texas in years. I'm sure some still exist, like maybe like flagship stores or something, but it's definitely declined, I think, as a company.
Oh, this reads as really like old mommy to me. It's like the sort of joke that like a parent would make, which ties into like Yale James being, kind of out of touch.
Old, you are old.
Last time I was at a Baskin-Robbins was in Seoul.
Oh, wow.
Because I hadn't seen a Baskin-Robbins in so long, and I wanted ice cream, and I was like, whoa, I wonder what Korean Baskin-Robbins is like. It was pretty good.
Did they have bulgogi ice cream?
That sounds interesting. I'd try that. I don't think I'd enjoy it, but I had this thing called like this like meteor or something, meteor scoop. It had like Pop Rocks in it, and I forget what the flavor
weird.
was. It was really good.
Sweet.
I really liked it. I got it like 3 times. not at the same time.
I used to get the flavor that was like blue ice cream, and it had like huge gummy fish in it. Because I just thought the aesthetic was cool. I didn't really care about how it tasted. But then again, I was 5 years old.
I was always afraid that would make me sick or something. Or maybe like my mom didn't let me get it because she knew it would like stain if I dropped it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think Anna should be difficult and say that she wants a Fudgy the Whale cake. Okay, spill the beans, Gray. Ion. She's just silly, and like she. This is after they've just had sex. Honk.
Honk!
This is.
That was the sound of sex.
Somebody just yelled at?
No, it was a car, a truck outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is after they've just had sex, and like and so now she's supposed to hear about why Christian doesn't like to be touched. And Gray says immediately after, "Miss Steele, you know how to ruin a moment." And so they, acknowledge that it's not sexy. But, I don't know, just spill the beans. It's such a unappealing phrase.
I don't know. The last time I heard somebody say this, it was in grade school. We used to say spill the beans and like cool beans all the time.
I feel like Kate might have said spill the beans. I think she did when she wanted to hear about Christian.
Cool beans.
I just want to stop and reflect on the phrase cool beans. Where the fuck did that even come from?
Where does anything
I didn't hear that
come
till I was
from?
in like middle school. How did it get so widespread? How did it get so widespread before the internet? What's going on here?
What's going on?
I always remember whenever anyone had beans at lunch for like in elementary school, everyone would laugh at them because they were the musical fruit.
The more you toot, the better you feel. So eat your beans for every meal. This I too recall.
I only knew the first part.
Well, I knew a lot more than that.
That's what makes Chuuurls the English major.
I don't really like any bean phrases. I don't like beans as a food.
I just don't care. I'm ambivalent about beans. Okay, so now it's time for the shitty dialogue bonanza hootenanny.
I guess I'll be Anastasia.
Alright. Are you laughing at me, Miss Steele?
I would dare, Mr. Gray.
I think you dare. And I think you do laugh at me, frequently.
You are quite funny.
Funny?
Oh, yes.
Funny peculiar or funny ha-ha?
Oh, a lot of one and some of the other.
Which way round?
I'll leave you to figure that out.
I'm not sure if I can figure anything out around you, Anastasia.
Sad face.
Yes.
Alright, so the reason I had us read this is because I want everybody to get a feel for how bad the dialogue is. This is, again, sort of one of those, like, I love banter, but it's just like a stretched out portion of something that didn't need to be stretched out and isn't good.
Yep. Like, they keep trying to play off the last line. And
Yeah.
it's just bad. Goes nowhere.
But oh boy, so do you have the, like, also that second line that Christian says, I think you dare, and I think you do laugh at me. Frequently. Is not really something that someone would say. I don't even think it's like an American.
Yeah. In fact, when he said that, my thought of what Anna should have responded was like the SAS motto, which is "Who dares wins," because it's so British. Not that it's not a good motto. I just mean like the
It's a great
exchange
motto.
feels so British. Yeah.
Situational.
I'm mad because you went drinking with that guy who tried to seduce you when you were drunk. Oh boy, this is a bad sentence. I'm mad because you went drinking with that guy who tried to seduce you when you were drunk and left you when you were ill with it. Oh my god, I can't. Is there really no commas?
Yeah, there are no commas.
Oh god. Okay. I'm mad because you went drinking with that guy who tried to seduce you when you were drunk and left when you were ill with an almost complete stranger. So, Christian was the stranger. She left him with Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't know, that was weird, but sort of good, I guess, because he recognizes that was a bad thing for Jose to do, but at the same time, like, he was the stranger.
Yeah.
And he didn't. I mean, I guess if Jose was a good guy, then he wouldn't have done
Yeah, he wouldn't
that.
have left Anna alone. Yeah.
But I don't know. They wouldn't have gotten closer, even though I guess that's good. I don't know. It's weird that he would bring this up, maybe. But I guess it shows he cares.
I suppose it speaks a bit more to him having any morals or ethics than most of his actions do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also he's trying to just talk about Anna's poor judgment.
Well, she was drunk. Anyway.
Well, that wasn't her fault.
Well,
I don't think it was. Because Jose just, basically assaulted her.
oh, that part. That's not what I was saying. Anyway, Chad.
It's such a fitting metaphor. This man, whom I once thought of as a romantic hero, a brave shining white knight, or the dark knight, as he said. Did she ever really think that he was like a romantic hero white knight?
Yes. In the beginning, she was like, he's not. She was trying to compare him to a literary romantic hero, and then she said something about being him being a white knight, and then he said a dark knight maybe.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Right.
That was much earlier in the book.
Yeah.
Even if we couldn't remember that exact quote, it's clear that when she first met him, she was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
he's such a gentleman," or whatever.
He'll ride in and save me with all his money.
So here's the quote. "So touching is a hard limit for you?" "Yes! This is old news," says Christian. So I wanted to kind of have a little discussion about DOMs and safe words. Just because Anna is the sub, or rather that she's in the sub role, does not mean that she also should not respect Christian's hard limits. And that is kind of a good example, I think, of times where a Dom will also need a safe word. Like, if she tried to touch him and he was like, "Safe word," then she would have to stop.
Yes, I agree with
like, if they had a contract, which for some reason they don't.
I mean, so, one person might think, that the Dom is, the one in control. They can do whatever they want, so they don't really, need... They wouldn't, nothing would happen that they didn't want to happen, but that's not true, and...
Yeah, that's often not the case.
As someone with lots of wacky insecurities, that's very necessary for someone like me, trying to Dom.
I think that a lot of times, maybe even Doms themselves have this, image of themselves that's like, "Oh, I'm the most fucked up and depraved. Yeah! I'm the master!" But, the truth is, everybody has their scary things. If you're... and we don't think of the sub as being able to kind of, violate in that way, but they can. It's possible. So that's why it's important for everybody to have safe words. Mm-hmm. Ta-da. So, Chad.
Right after Anna kisses Christian... he groans in response. It's just like, not this again. Christian's thinking to himself. He's just all
probably not
disgusted and embarrassed.
I'm always kind of,
groaning is sort of a weird way of putting it. Usually I think it would be moaning.
Yeah.
She says moan a lot.
I'm always trying to be conscious of, when I use groaning and moaning when I write porn. Just because groan sounds more exasperated and when moaning sounds more pleasurable. It's not really... hard and fast rule either way, no. But
This is so amazing, he wails, sobbing into his pillow.
Hey, that could be true.
Yeah, it could be true. This leads really well into my point actually about this, which is that certain verbings are not really used with men very much. Okay, men don't really scream, but men yell. And maybe men don't really moan, but maybe they groan. That's sort of how I took that. Yeah.
I can see you mean by that. Yeah. Me. "I'm going to fuck you on the couch this minute quickly, for my pleasure, not yours." There's a lot of, him specifying what this particular sex act, the purpose of, is. That was not quite a sentence. There's a lot of specifying, the purpose of the sex act in this chapter. I think he does it, 3 times. Later he says, "This is for pleasure, Anna, mine and yours." And he does that, I think, a 3rd time. He's like, "I'm going to spank you, then I'm going to fuck you for both of our pleasure." I know it's an interesting thing to start bringing up, but he could have maybe varied his wording a little bit.
Yeah, I think he could have varied it a lot. But maybe it could have been one of those things where he wasn't sure, what he should say. Not that that's been an issue in the past. It seems like when you're dealing with new people, you don't want to say certain things to them. I can think of a lot of things he could have said, how's it feel, to just be my slut? I'll just use you, stuff like that. But instead, he's just all right, you're mine. You're still mine.
Yeah. I'm not going to read the next thing, but go ahead, Chad.
this is in the car. Anna and Christian are talking. I guess that's why this is about a conversation. Holy crap! How did this suddenly become such an intense and meaningful conversation? I don't really think it did. First of all, it's not that intense. Second of all, it's not that meaningful. And even though like the dialogue is still pretty stilted, it was written to sort of seem like a natural progression. So I don't think it's not like someone just suddenly went, okay, now the meaningful and intense part of our conversation will happen. So I don't know. It wasn't totally unthinkable given the circumstances.
Yeah, that they would talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so right after that part where they're having the intense and meaningful quote-unquote conversation, there's 2 quotes that I'm going to read to you. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I think for a great deal it speaks for itself. So here we go. I let my mind drift, and I allow myself to fantasize that he loves me. Oh, and it's so real, tangible almost, and a small part of my nasty, harpy self-conscious acts completely out of character and dares to hope. I'm careful not to touch his chest, but just snuggle in his arms as he holds me tightly. ... Here's another section. Because I think, like, okay, Christian's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or something. And she thinks to herself, because I think I love you, and you just see me as a toy. Because I can't touch you. Because I'm too frightened to show you any affection in case you flinch or tell me off, or worse, beat me? Aside from the obvious, that not being very good writing, I found this a little bit gross and sad. When she says she dares to hope, she's like fantasizing that, okay, well I said that, she's fantasizing that he loves her. Is it not a little quick for the love word? The L word?
Yeah, I think it is. A little quick.
I know people who start doing it very quickly, but to me that feels like really bad. In a lot of my old relationships, like we would kind of like dance around it for a while, like olive juice, like really stupid things.
I don't... Okay, this might be totally just misinterpreting how relationships work, but
Okay.
I feel like the way he tries to possess her and control her and have sex with her so much, it feels like there's no way that she could be confused about this. I mean, it's obvious like that he wants to be with her. He's trying to like go to Georgia with her, not spend a moment apart from her. I feel like she would be maybe creeped out by that, and maybe he think that he likes her too much. I don't know what she thinks is going on in his mind.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because she just doesn't operate like a real person.
I mean, I guess it's just she's super insecure or something, but I don't know. It's just, again, like where she's surprised every time he expresses that he likes her.
Right, I mean, and this is just right after he says, like, oh, like, I did want you to come to that dinner thing. And she's like, I don't think so. Like, you know, to some degree still.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you about this, like, let's say if I was in that situation and the person who was in Christian's role wasn't as, like, creepy, obviously, because I wouldn't hang out with someone like that. If somebody was saying these things to me, I would immediately recognize that for what it is, which is probably that he likes me as much as I like him.
Yeah.
I think
she's
so.
dumb.
But it's still weird. But it's still weird that she's that attached. I don't like that. I think that's a little bit unwise. But especially considering you just see me as a toy. Like, how do you love someone? Why? No!
Yeah.
Alright, I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah, I think given the circumstances of their relationship and Christian's, like, terrible nature, it is, like, I don't understand why she's, one, why she's misinterpreting it, two, why she's so attached in the way that she is. I mean, aside from just, like, it being pure lust or something. So, her thinking that she might love him is a little weird.
Yeah.
But also, I sort of have kind of the opposite feeling for, like, how quickly to use love. Like, not that you should use it right away, but there's no reason not to, like, dance. I don't think there's any reason to dance around it.
That's kind of sweet, I guess.
Silly to me. What?
I said that's kind of... I don't want to... Never mind. I was saying that was kind of cute and sweet. But I don't like giving you compliments. No, I think... I mean, if you... Once you admit that you like somebody that much, inevitably that means you have to accept some facts about the relationship that it's probably not going to be... No, that's going to be pretty permanent, probably. At least for me, that's what it is. So... Anyway,
I guess so, yeah. I guess I just don't see why the word should be imbued with so much power.
I don't know. Some of us don't give our affections as quickly, so it feels like a really big deal, and you don't want to, like, tie somebody into it quickly.
Some of us don't give our affections at all.
Jesus.
Yep. Next.
Go ahead.
Chad.
On that note, he tastes divine. That's gross after they're kissing.
She's used this before.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Describing how somebody tastes like when you're kissing them is just sort of, I don't know. It seems a little unsavory to me.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I mean, Christian's always making her taste her vagina juice.
Thus far, she's never said that she tastes divine.
No.
So
She's still...
No, has he not said that
he has
she
said
tastes?
that, yeah. I'm pretty sure he
yeah.
said that. But okay, so this sort of thing just reminds me of something from Wayside School. It was the Lewis Sacker books where
Yeah.
at one point,
Yeah.
God, I love those books.
Me too.
the teacher brings in, or was this Wayside School? Yeah, I think so. Brings in flavored ice cream that's the
Dead
flavor
rat
you
flavor?
taste in your mouth. No, it's the flavor that you taste in your mouth. So so it's like if you want to experience what someone else's mouth tastes like, you eat the ice cream. But if you eat your own, you don't taste anything because that's what you're always tasting.
Oh, that's cool. I've forgotten about that. I used to read those books all the time.
Me too.
I
Me
loved
too.
them.
Pretty sure it was that book series. It might be a different one.
It sounds like something that would be in that book series.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a moment, I had a moment of doubt where I was like, "Is that a magic school bus?" And I was like, "That's too gross for the magic school bus."
Well, I mean, they did go into Arnold's colon. But anyway.
Yeah, they did. Anyways, I don't think it's too terrible to say that somebody's kisses are sweet or whatever. But he tastes divine is a little bit much. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, saying you like, I don't know, you like the taste of someone's kiss. It's not.
I mean, yeah,
bad.
that's a little bit visceral, but it doesn't. It sort of is out of place in this genre.
It's just, I guess it's just weird to think about tasting somebody.
Yes, I think we're going to talk about this later, even how we don't like this concept of saliva swapping, or at least I don't.
I was just thinking about cannibalism. Anna seems legitimately surprised that Christian wants to have sex again. There's a point in the book where Christian is like, "Okay, we're gonna go have sex in my apartment," and she's like, "Again?" Actually, she says "Holy fuck." ... again? The first time they had sex, then they have sex twice, and then the next time they had sex 3 times in a row.
Well, I mean...
I think it's because she's tired from the intense beating.
And also, those were sexes all in one session.
Yeah, like 3 at once rather than 3 spread out.
Yeah, as opposed to getting in a car and going somewhere. Also, it has been this will be the 5th time in a day.
Oh yeah, I guess they did have sex that morning. Forgot about that since this book is so segmented in weird ways.
Yeah.
I guess they should have just, if they really wanted to keep up the momentum, they should have just had sex in the car.
Yeah, but Taylor's there.
Then we could have seen how dedicated, Taylor
Taylor
really
didn't
is
seem
to
to
his
mind
job.
when they were talking about the cuffs.
Fucking.
And then she sat on his lap without a seatbelt in the back of the car.
I mean, Taylor's probably under an NDA as well, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably. Almost assuredly. Chris, okay, so we have a big discussion. It probably should have been a BDSM chat, but
maybe. We're gonna call it ball chat.
Ball chat. Christian uses Benoit balls on Anna. These had a brief, popularity push after the books came out. It was one of the examples of how kinky the books were and how to apply it to your sex life. Okay, well, I was researching this, and I found this little blog called 50 Shades of Oz, which was basically these 2 moms who were blogging about different aspects of 50 Shades of Grey. I just found it this morning, so I might need to delve a little more into it, but there was a section about Benoit balls. But I feel this is another scene that is often referenced. Also, every time the balls are mentioned, of course, I think of scrotums, just like belly.
They could have used Bali. They could have used better terms for that, like spheres, if you must. I mean, it sounds kind of, or orbs. Insert the orb.
Also, the other thing that exposure that I've had to the Benoit ball concept is there's some movie where a character is describing how Chinese wives used to have them in their vaginas all day and would be super horny when their husbands came home. Does anybody know what this is from? I can't remember. I feel like maybe it was a Tarantino movie. Like, just one of those weird side conversations they have or something.
Yeah.
But
I don't really know. It sounds like Chad doesn't know either because he hasn't said anything. But, like...
he might not just want to interrupt. We'll see. Let's just keep talking and see if he...
Let's just keep talking and see if
he'll grow the Benoit balls to interrupt us. Tell us if he knows or not.
I think that if it turns out that Chad doesn't know because he's too shy to interrupt, regardless of whether he knows, that our listeners should say whether or not they know what it is. We would be indebted to you.
Yes, please. Chad?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't understand why that was so funny.
It was great, don't worry. So, before I get into my big thing about this, I have just a related thing before I get into my... so I guess first it's a complaint and then it's like an analysis. So, here's my complaint. Here's a quote. He spanks me twice more, and then he pulls at the small threads attached to the balls and jerks them out of me suddenly. I almost climaxed. Feelings out of this world. To me, that seemed more like an anal bead thing than anything. Like, that's sort of what you do with them. You put them in somebody's butt and then you pull it out, and then it's really good. Apparently. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I just wanted to complain again, because what is it with, like, abruptly snatching things or taking things out from the genitals in this book? I mean, like, I cringe every time I see it. It just doesn't... it doesn't sound like it's fun. It's fine if you have no comment on this. Just something that I noticed.
I agree.
Okay, good. I'm glad we all agree. So now it's time for ball chat. Ball chat proper. Here we go. Benoit balls originate from some place in the Orient. There's a lot of apocryphal stories on their origin. Nobody really knows from whence they came. Wikipedia says, usage of Benoit balls creates a subtle simulation, not meant to bring the user to immediate orgasm, but rather to tease. Real Benoit balls are, like, really small. They're like the size of a marble. Just like think of a marble, that's how big they are, basically, the real ones. Unless somebody is clampy, or if your muscles are whatever, you don't feel them in the way that Anastasia does here. And I mean, and I'm thinking because Christian's like fucked her like 5 times today, it's probably likely that she would have to do like some holding in, which I don't see referenced even one time. I read an article I found that says that these balls can fall out of people during the day if they're not careful, and I just can't imagine how fucking hilarious it would be to see.
I feel like that's been a sight gag in some raunchy comedy.
Oh no, the balls fell out! I don't even know how you would react to that or handle that. But anyway, I have an article, and I'll link it. I will actually link it in the description. To clarify about this, the whole point of the balls being small is that if your genital is not in shape, you have to clench to keep them in there. Anastasia only apparently does it involuntarily, which is not really like, she doesn't describe like the actual holding in or moving around that you do with them. I guess there might be something to be said about, because like in most of these there's like, if you shake them there's a little chime in them or whatever, or like a clapper. Like it sort of vibrates. A clapper, sorry. If she's using actual Benoit balls, I don't think she would be feeling like, oh my god! Like, I mean, she climbs up on a ladder and she's like, like, that's not really... or not a ladder, sorry, like a step stool or a chair, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I was like, a ladder? Did you make her go through an obstacle course?
No, but she had to go get some water and she had to, like, go on her tiptoes or step on a thing. I think that were they using actual traditional style Benoit balls, which, as I said, are small, about the size of a marble, she wouldn't be feeling this way. E.L. James really should have just said Kegel exerciser or vaginal weights. Although I guess that's not very sexy and exotic.
Well, I mean, she doesn't say what they are. She doesn't say Benoit balls.
No, Christian says Benoit.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Fuck. Alright.
He calls them Benoit balls.
Alright.
Okay, so there you have it.
Never mind.
Anyways, the other toys that I mentioned tend to be larger and better for general usage, no matter what you've got going on down there. The bigger the ball, and the kind of more force that the chime exerts, the more likely that somebody would be having feelings like Anastasia is. We mentioned earlier in the podcast Baoding balls, which you sort of like revolve them in your hands for hand exercise, or some people use them for rehabilitation if they've gotten injured. I say here, I have no idea whether you should put them in your cooch, but definitely don't put them in your butt, okay? Ask a real doctor before you do any of this shit. Don't just put things in your butt. I don't think this is really that kinky. The only reason that it seems that way is because they incorporate it into something that is kinky. But those by themselves are not really... Like, don't feel like you're some kind of freak if you have them, because you're not.
I think that any usage of toys might be considered kinky by...
Yeah, I found that a little strange. How's that true?
I mean, I guess, it's just not... It wouldn't be part of vanilla sex, quote-unquote. Missionary putting it in.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I think that's basically it.
What?
Yeah, it's like... It's a lot of people, for some reason, think that just, like, any incorporation of things that isn't just, like, straight up, like, missionary.
Yeah, like, if you're not doing it to... If you're not doing it to make a baby, then why you need some balls, huh?
Oh my god.
It's like I think about it like this. Even people like just different positions, people consider some of that kinky.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, like, that's why tantric sex was such a big deal for a while, because it was like super kinky tantric sex and like the Kama Sutra and stuff.
It's not don't really. I think people...
We know this in our heart of hearts, but...
Calm down, chill.
People they should make a different distinction between things that are just, like, experimental and things that are within the context of BDSM.
Well, also, this is changing a lot, I think, just because of the internet, so you probably shouldn't be worried about it as much.
I'm not... Did I give the impression that I was worried? I'm not worried.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm just more, like...
You sound distressed.
I'm sort of flabbergasted that people think that's, like, whoa, that's really kinky. Like, it's not.
You don't have to, like, shove your sex having in everybody's face.
I didn't. It doesn't. You don't even need to have sex to do these things, which is actually something that segues very well into my next point. As it happens, the first time that I read this chapter of this book before we even did the podcast, I thought to myself, well, that looks interesting. And I did some research because I was thinking about getting them. I didn't end up doing that because that's stupid. And that's not... No.
Well, you just said that it wasn't kinky or weird.
It's not kinky or weird, but I don't like to do things based on a bad book that I read. I think that's unwise.
I mean, but if it's not, like, if it's totally a thing, I mean, it's not like she invented it.
No, it's true.
I'm not saying you need to go out and get some. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's the best basis.
I sort of agree. But actually, I decided not to. Part of the reason was... When I had done some research and found out what they are, I realized that I had used something similar in the past. Not the same. And it wasn't fun.
You gotta have a string to pull them out.
You don't have to. You can get them out, but like...
yeah, but if you're scared, then...
Yeah, I definitely, like... It happened, and I was like, what now? Like, where are they? I can't get them out! If you ever find yourself in that situation, just start coughing or start jumping around. Or just don't worry about it, because they'll come out eventually. It's fine.
It's maybe TMI.
Not necessarily. That could happen to anybody.
Pirates could happen to anyone. He stands and removes the condom, knotting it at the end, and pulls it and puts it in his pants pocket. Wow, gross, wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Even if it wasn't like a lubey condom, it was in somebody, and it becomes a lubey condom.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You got like a bunch of...
It's got fluids all over it.
Yeah.
So
let's not talk about this.
Inside, outside, no, but I have a story.
Oh, tell the story.
Okay, so I had a friend come to stay with me for a few days. And on the last day, when he was packing up his stuff, he said, "Oh, hey, you want to see something gross?" And he reached into his backpack and he pulled out a knotted condom. And I was like, what? And I was like, what the fuck? And he said... Oh, well, a few weeks ago, me and my girlfriend were staying at another friend's house, and, well, we had to have sex in the bed at their house, because I guess I couldn't fucking observe some decorum and not have sex in their friend's house. And they were like, well, there wasn't a trash can in the room, so I just put the condom in here. So he'd had this fucking used knotted condom in his backpack for weeks. Oh, God, gross.
Okay, Chad. Or no, is it?
Nope.
Is it?
No, it's me.
You. Yay!
Fuck, this is sexier than the toothbrush. Okay, what's happening here is she has just sucked on the Benoit balls to, quote, lube them up. And then he says something to the effect of, bend down and grab your ankles. And then she says, fuck, this is sexier than the toothbrush. Now, there's not a lot of repetitive movement here, but saliva doesn't really make the best lube. So, while they could probably help get them in there, I'm just saying, if he wants to say, saliva dries out
very quickly.
So, yeah, it does not make a good lube. even though that's not really the problem here. But the real problem is that she's just in a gross cavity search position, and she thinks that's sexy. Like, there's a scene very much like this in A Clockwork Orange, where he has to bend over and grab his ankles so they can look at his butt. Yeah, it's just weird.
I actually wonder something. I don't remember.
Okay.
Does he put them in with his mouth?
Oh, no. What? No.
See, okay.
I think you misremember that.
I thought what happened was... I would be confusing this with another future sex scene. I'm sorry. Spoilers. They do this again.
Oh, boy.
I thought that after they were in her mouth, he put them in his mouth, and then he put them in her with
Maybe
his
that's
mouth.
why she thought it was sexier than the toothbrush.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, that's the reason. No, he put them in with his hands, but yeah, the reason the toothbrush thing is the like they're in her mouth and his mouth. And like
No. Now turn around, bend down, and grab your ankles. I blink at him. His expression darkens. Don't hesitate, he admonishes me softly, an undercurrent in his voice, and he pops the balls in his mouth. Fuck, this is sexier than the toothbrush. So yeah, he does put them in his mouth, but I don't know if he puts them in with his mouth.
Why wouldn't
No, he puts
That's
them with
stupid.
his hands.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, the only way that saliva would work in this case if it just went straight from mouth to vag. Because then it doesn't have time to dry out. Okay, but that's apparently not what happened, so, sorry.
I mean, I could see that it wouldn't dry out in like the couple seconds that he took it out of his mouth.
I guess my other comment about this was that I don't think anybody likes to think like, oh, spit is great. Like, I want spit to be in my orifices.
Okay, no, this is me. Not me. Well, not me. I don't like to receive that kind of thing. But I'll spit on other people, no problem. And there was this guy who like wanted to like I would eat a grape and he would want to eat the seed after I'd spit it out.
Oh, that's very bird-like. Was it actually just a bird?
It was a birdkin.
My friend, this bird used to come to my house. It was more that like when it's happening, I have no objection to the sensations that it creates. That sounded really goony. I want to say that in a good voice. I have no objections to the sensations that it creates. However, the concept, concretely, of having somebody spit inside you is a little bit gross to think about. Sorry, go ahead, Chad.
The woman who brought me into this world was a crack whore, Anastasia. Holy fuck, what does that mean? I think the meaning is pretty clear. I mean, it doesn't, like, as noted earlier, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, it means nothing.
But, I mean, there's no way to misinterpret what he just said. Unless it means, like, some sort of, like, strange guiding spirit, like, brought his consciousness into his body, and she was a crack whore. She's like, I'm a crack whore, but I'm here to lead you into life. And suddenly he was a baby.
Yeah, the spiritual guide who brought me in was a crack whore. I was wondering if maybe it's inappropriate that she begged so hard to be told this. I think it's a little early in the relationship.
I agree. I think that, this is maybe not a sexy thing that he wants to think about. I think it's not very nice for her to have used that as a bargaining chip to let him get off. Kate chat. He needs antagonizing. Then you can see what he's like. Be careful, Anna. He's so controlling, she whispers. See you later! Bye! Great job, Kate. This is very much like the thing where, like, he's so dangerous. At least it's good champagne.
Kate's bad about that.
Yep.
That's pretty much what I say. Like, she's doing the concerned friend thing. She's like, oh, watch out for him. All right, talk to you later. Gonna go fuck my boyfriend. And I like Kate's whole stuff about reasoning for antagonizing Christian. I do, even though Anna yells it at you in the book, it's sort of a new page. I do think she's probably right, like, that she knows Christian better, and Kate's just meddling, and, like, she, like, as far as I know, Anna's never even really sat down and, like, talked to her about Christian's personality, because every time this comes up, she tries to distract Kate, and it always works. So, Kate doesn't know anything about Christian other than, like, what she's heard from Elliot, if she's even talked to Elliot about him, and then what little she knows from background research, and then, like, all of Anna's breakdowns. So, she's just making a lot of assumptions here.
Yes.
Yep.
my one comment about Kate. Anna says that Kate is being more playful than usual. She sticks her tongue out at her before she leaves, and that this is a rare thing. I don't know how true that is.
I agree with this. I was like, wait, is she not usually like a spunky lady?
Kate does seem like she's just always like very outspoken, like la la la, like 100%. But maybe she is actually has some kind of like type A personality, like inevitably being valedictorian. You would have to think that she might be a little bit like, you know, high strung maybe, and maybe we just didn't notice that, or E.L. Jameson did a good job describing it. I also wouldn't call this behavior playful. I would say it's more like immature and manipulative. With the whole, like,
Yep.
let me exacerbate your Christian situation thing.
No, I thought she was just talking about Kate sticking out her tongue.
Yeah, I would say that's immature.
No, the manipulative part though, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, all of her actions this evening were manipulative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. She is being pretty immature.
Okay, goddess chat.
Goddess chat.
Quote, I've taken a punishment fuck, but gained a small victory over the panties. My inner goddess nods in agreement, a satisfied grin over her face. A satisfied grin over her face. You didn't have to ask for them.
I think that might be different in mine, but I wonder if that's a Brit thing over her face.
I don't know. Somebody British tell
Sounds
us.
weird.
Thank you. Alright. If I must talk about it, it's sort of like a triumph for her.
I don't know about that. No, you're right. It is a grin over her face. Anyway, like, I don't know. It seems kind of pathetic after he just got punishment fucked for...
Yeah, but this serves her ends in some way.
I feel like she's justifying that.
Maybe. Goddess is
But,
in denial.
My inner goddess is doing the dance of the seven veils. This is a very strange biblical reference. This is a dance that Salome did for King Herod. She was...
Salome.
Is it
Salome?
Yeah,
I thought
Salome?
so.
I was going to say, yeah.
Princess Salami did for King Herod. She was to be given anything she wanted in return, and I'm not exactly sure how this worked, but it seemed like I didn't read up on this quite as well as I should have. But King Herod's wife
No.
wanted John the Baptist's head on a platter in return for the dance.
That's right. No, it was Salome's mom. I don't know if she was King Herod's wife.
Yeah, Salome's mom.
So
That's right.
Salome's mom really wanted John the Baptist dead, so she had Salome do a sexy dance, and King Herod was like, I'll give you anything! And the mom was like, ask for John the Baptist head on a platter. Or it may have been in exchange for marriage. I don't really quite remember, but that's what I remember from Sunday school.
No, the head was in exchange for the dance. Definitely that was the case.
Okay.
Which is why I found this so strange of a reference to make. Whose head will be on the platter?
That's a good
The
question.
subconscious's head? Jose's head? He is being kept prisoner under a rug. As the situation with Jose was swept under the rug, that the inner goddess was eating grapes on top of.
It might just be like a more oblique thing that, like, I'll do this thing so I can get anything I want. But that doesn't work as an analogy because it's the mom getting what she wants. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess maybe Anastasia is the mom of the inner goddess if you think about it, but anyways.
The main version of Salome that I know, aside from like the biblical one, which doesn't actually involve John the Baptist's head, is the Oscar Wilde play. Trying to remember who, because I'm pretty sure like it's Salome that requests the head, and she's being flippant. Because the whole point of like this story later is like dangerous female seduction and sexuality and.
Well, I watched the version that had Rita Hayworth as Salome, and like when they bring her John's head, she like freaks out.
Yeah.
Because I guess she did not expect to receive it, even though her mom in the scene said, "Bring me John the Baptist's head on a platter." Blah blah blah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, here's some lines. Nothing plain or old about vanilla. It's a very intriguing flavor, he breathes. Since when? Since last Saturday. Why? Were you hoping for something more exotic? My inner goddess pops her head above the parapet.
Parapet.
Oh no, I've had enough exotic for one day. My inner goddess pouts at me, failing miserably to hide her disappointment. I said, What is a parapet / parapet? And why does she have one? It's like a castle wall, right? More development of the inner brain space zone. Like, okay, first we thought that maybe it was an apartment, but now it's a castle?
Well, yeah, it's like a fortress.
Apparently.
Like a fortress. It's like, isn't it the thing where they're the little indentations in the top of the wall so you can hide behind them or look out?
Yeah, it's like, the stuff on the castle wall that's like down, up.
It's the thing
down,
at the top of the turret,
up.
basically.
Yeah.
And those are usually for like archers and stuff.
So am I wrong about the whole parapet saying parapet instead? Isn't it a thing like foyer, parapet?
I've never heard parapet.
No.
Well, would you say turret instead of turret?
No.
I don't actually know what language it's derived from. Oh, apparently it comes from Italian. So
it is parapet. Bummer.
Yep.
Well, I'm dumb. Guess I'll just be dumb in this podcast. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, I'm dumb.
That's okay, English major. We understand.
Jesus Christ. I'm an English major. You do the math.
I'm sorry. Was that too hard?
No, it wasn't. It was because we had that fan mail that was like, why do you say things when you're wrong?
You're always wrong about things, Charles. Don't say wrong things.
Why don't you remove it from the podcast?
This is the subconscious going on a gigantic, scary rant. What do you expect? That you'd grow horns and a little pointy tail? My subconscious snaps at me. And what the hell are you doing? Touching is his hard limit. Too soon, you idiot. He needs to walk before he can run. My subconscious is furious. Medusa-like in her anger, hair flying, her hands clenched around her face in Edward Monk's The Scream. Monk. I ignore her. But she won't climb back into her box. You are making him mad. Think about all that he's said, all he's conceded. That was that sentence again.
Pretty terrifying.
But, yeah. So what are we doing?
We're gonna raise the fucking level.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so many religious and supernatural references in here that we have to be afraid, even in spite of the goddess's like weird little denial, like, oh, well, you got fucked, but you can have your pennies back. So I say, we call this threat level, we raise it, and we call it Dogma Parapet Grey. If you don't know what a dogma is, in Zoroastrianism, a tower of death. They used to put dead bodies in there and burn them. They're also called towers of silence. It's kind of cool, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, I agree.
I believe it conveys the level warning well.
Alright, favorite line. They make me needy for sex.
I consider that a comma crime. They make me needy,
Why?
Needy for sex. I think it should be a period.
I guess.
Or a dash. Sort of depends on what you want it to sound like. Okay.
Needy for sex.
I have two. One is, your ass is a glorious color, after Christian is spanking her. It's just so funny. Stupid thing to say.
The way you say it, it sounds like your ass is a color, and that color is glorious. Like,
yeah.
Your ass is the name of a color.
Your ass is a glorious color.
Yeah.
We'll decorate the baby's room with it.
Your ass is a... Yes, let's paint... Let's paint the baby's room with your ass.
What's that song about the body being the wonderland? Yeah.
That
Think of that
John
tune.
Mayer song,
Yes.
Your Body is a Wonderland?
Yeah, but your ass is a glorious color.
The woman who brought me into this world was a crack whore, Anastasia. That's also a really funny line.
It's just so mood-breaking, too. Okay.
I guess it is a good way to just, like, end the conversation if you're just like, my mom was a crack whore. And alright, good night.
My favorite line is honestly not that very funny, so here it is. My answer is feather soft. I just think that's cute. I think that's a cute way to describe something, to say that it is feather soft.
That's why you always hear it in advertisements for toilet paper.
Feather? I don't want feathers on my butt.
Honestly, do you want anything on your butt, including toilet paper? That's the point. They have to make it appealing some way.
I want clothes on it so nobody can see. What was good?
I'm really glad that Christian ended up not spanking her when she asked him not to.
Can you clarify where in the chapter that is?
At the very beginning, he was like, I'm gonna spank you and then fuck you for for dropping all this surprise on me.
Well, it's more like he was about to. It seemed like he was about to, and she said, "Please don't," and he was like, "Huh?"
Yeah. Sorry. Well, you didn't let me finish.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, she was like, "I'm gonna spank you. Take off your whatever," and she's like, "No, please, not here, not now." And so he finally concedes to just fuck her, which is still kind of not cool, but I mean, she's okay with it, so.
Yes.
I'm just glad that I really thought she was gonna get spanked when she really didn't want to. She didn't.
It was good. I did like that things were seeming more consensual this time around.
Yeah.
Alright. Having the same problem as I did in a previous chapter. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been 18 or 17. The thing that she describes, the writing aside, appealed to me. But at the same time, like, I don't like it when E.L. James takes something and then she ruins it with bad writing and inaccurate toy usage. So that sucks. But, you know.
I don't think you need to feel bad about liking a thing and then having it ruined by one piece of thing. That's how I feel about. Okay.
It wasn't that ruined if I could still see that I liked it. You know? Like.
Yeah.
So.
I guess the main thing I liked is this chapter didn't seem that boring. I don't really know why, but there were boring parts. I think it was maybe because the sex descriptions, despite taking up so much space, just weren't as bad as they have been in the past. Like, there wasn't a lot of them grunting and also Anastasia like exploding or melting, or well, she does melt, but like, I don't know. It wasn't as terrible, so it made the chapter seem like it moved faster because it was easier to just like get through it. Like, because a lot of the times before, when it was like really bad, it's just like exasperating to read. But this time, it's just like you can just speed read it, and it's not like there's nothing to like stop you in your tracks where you're just like, oh, this is so bad, or oh, this is so funny, or oh, this is so boring. It was just like, yeah, this is a book. You just get done with it.
Safe words.
Safe words.
So he's got his fingers in her vagina. "This is mine," he whispers aggressively. "All mine. Do you understand?" This is gross. Especially because they haven't signed the contract yet. Kind of dehumanizing and...
yeah, there's something scary about it.
Yeah.
"I want you frustrated. That's what you do to me by not talking to me, by denying me what's mine." Just another, like, what exactly is his? Like, her talking to him? Or her giving you all the details of her life?
I think he might be referring to that day when she didn't call him back.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I suppose...
He's very entitled, so I mean, I guess that's sort of the Dom prerogative, but, you know, they don't have the goddamn contract yet.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Well, I agree. To build on this, here's my safe word. Here's a quote. Or 5. "Ask me," he says softly. I frown. "Ask him what?" "Ask me!" His voice is slightly harder. "What?" "How's your water? What does he want?" "Ask me, Anastasia." "I won't say it again!" And there's a threat implicit in his words, and it dawns on me. He wants me to ask him to spank me. Holy shit. He's looking at me expectantly, his eyes growing colder. Shit. Okay. This is one of those things that is borderline. Like, it almost could have been not a safe word. It almost could have been good. You know, ask me.
Yeah.
Okay, but I really don't like this.
Yeah, he seems like really angry.
Yeah, the anger is not cool. And also, I don't like the stuff where the other person, Anastasia in this case, isn't at the same level of understanding like what you want from them, and you're not communicating clearly to them what you want. He could have just said, "Ask me to punish you."
Yeah.
But he's like, "Ask me, ask me, ask me." And he gets just like madder and madder. And I don't think that's very good BDSM. Break the scene.
He's just chasing her around the room. She's like, "What? I don't know what you want. Ask me. Ask me. What? God, leave me alone. Ask me." Little children.
Do you have one, Chad?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, I did. It was the same thing as so what you said was good. Cherrydoom, where it was like it's good that he ended up not spanking her when she asked, but the way that scene played out at first was really, really creepy.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Which is why it's good that he didn't do it. Because she's like, "Don't hit me." Like,
yeah.
She sounded, just like she was about to be abused.
Yes.
Spoiler dungeon. Does Anna ever specify the length? Oh, fuck!
Now all you have to do
pretty
is do
good.
the sound, though.
Which
Yay!
Okay.
That was more like a scene.
Does Anna ever specify the length of Christian's dick?
She does not. However, it's obviously behemoth, or she's really bad at spatial judging. Plus, we did have that whole bath time thing, and we determined in person
Oh, right.
that it has to be the size of my forearm in order for that to work. In this chapter, I have a question for myself. In this chapter, he says, "One day, I will fuck you in this elevator." Chuuurls, do they fuck in that elevator? Well, Chuuurls, I wonder if they do. I think they do, but I forgot. I feel like they do.
I feel like they must.
I don't feel like it's in this book, though. I feel like it's in book 2.
I'm kind of
They fuck the elevator.
surprised because I feel like, that would be something that all the people reading the fan fiction would be like chomping at the bit to read
Yeah.
about. Like,
I
oh,
just-
elevator sex, it's so hot.
I feel like that, look, if you wanted to, like, really incorporate the elevator thing in a way that was actually sexual and good to read, it would be, like, maybe, like, right after they meet, and you think, like, oh, I'm not gonna do anything with this guy, he doesn't like me. Suddenly you're fucking in an elevator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah! Is what I said. I was gonna say more, but then I just said yeah. Alright. Any questions about spoilers anymore?
Nope. Not for me.
Well, episode's over. Sorry it's so long. Laters, baby!
Laters, baby.
Laters, baby.